All right. Hey, thank you for checking out another edition of On the Air with Eric Thompson. We are podcasting live from the historic Arts and Entertainment District of downtown Conroe, Texas, situated nicely right here in Montgomery County. It is, what is today? It's the 19th. Yeah, that's right. That comes into play later. Today is April the 19th, 2020, and what a difference a week makes. Man. So, we've got a good show. I'm fired up about our show. This is going to be a good show tonight. We've got a good show. On hand, we have, first of all, I'd like to just say this. I am so glad to be here and streaming live on YouTube, because there has been a few times over the last couple of days that I was not sure if this thing was going to materialize or not, because I don't know. It's better. I'll sum it up like this. It is better to be lucky than good any damn day of the week. And I think that's the wave we're riding around here. So let's jump in, Mario. Okay. As you know, Abbott spoke Friday afternoon. Here's a couple things that are going to be coming up. Here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Greg Abbott spoke on Friday afternoon. Right on the heels of that, we had our Montgomery County Judge, Mark Keogh, had an announcement. He talked about a little bit about that. They're going to be easing up some business restrictions, and we're going to talk about that. Crypto markets, precious metals, oil prices. Then check this out. Here's the coolest thing that's going on with this broadcast, at least high on the list as it would be. We are having City Council member and Mayor Pro Tem Duke Coon kind enough to join me earlier today in an interview. We're going to share that talk with him. It was a good interview. I enjoyed that, and he was kind enough to enlighten us on some things kind of going on around here with our COVID response, and a lot of stuff that we're doing right. And backed by popular demand, as promised and highly requested, you will be hearing from Mr. Motivation himself, the man with the hammer. We will not disappoint. We're going to come back with his video submission for the week. And what else? We'll have some MoCo news, and man, I don't even know. Let's see. What else are we going to do, Mario? Here's the deal. A little bill pay. Got to take care of some bills. As always, I recommend last podcast. I forgot, and I was a little disappointed. Bodycanna, there you go, the bodycanna.com. Can you see all that? So a little off there. All right, bodycanna.com, www.bodycanna.com. Note to self. You can see our QR code, but do not click on that right now. We're going to show this at the end of the show, and you'll be able to do that. But just whenever it is time for you to get involved with your new bottle of CBD, make sure you're getting good CBD from a great company, www.bodycanna.com. We appreciate them, and I eat the stuff like M&Ms, as I say all the time, and I think you're going to love it. So do that, and you'll appreciate that. What else do we have? Yeah. Crypto, is that where we are? Yeah, let's do that. Okay, crypto. So, as of yesterday, or at least when we put this chart together, the Bitcoin was hanging out right at 72.06 with 68 cents. I think all of the crypto seemed to have increased over the week. Ethereum was at 182.66, and Litecoin coming in at $43.54. So, good week in the crypto markets if you were holding. Let's see, what else we got? All right, do we have, there it is already, poof, like it's magic, man. I don't even have to ask it, REC. That's pretty cool. All right, gold, $16.57 an ounce. That's $1,657 for an ounce. Silver at $15.23, and we look like we have West Texas Intermediate crude at $25 and $36 a barrel. Damn, I hope that goes up somehow. I know those folks are, for another show, I want to talk about this. I, for the life of me, do not understand why precious metals haven't just skyrocketed up, but people still love the market, and so be it. So, I may be a cynic on this, but anyway, those are our prices for metals markets, black liquids, and cryptos, all that stuff. Okay, so let's hop into the news here. So we had Greg Abbott on Friday. You probably have heard about this, but he came out and he laid down some basic points for Texas coming back. And do we have those right here? Let's see. What did he say? We kind of wrote them down. So my understanding of his conversation, the bullet points are this: that he is that we're reopening Texas, that he is setting up a task force of some sort, where it's going to be specifically Texas related. They're going to look into that. So what I am seeing is that they in his speech, they said Monday, even though we are not having schools, we have the parks open. That's right. State parks in Texas are opening Monday, but with a couple caveats. One, No groups larger than 5, and everybody's got to have masks on. Those are the breaks, and those are the sign of the new times. So that's what's really going on. Monday, you can go to the state park, no groups larger than 5, and masked up. On Tuesday, they're saying that surgeries at the hospital are going to be rescheduled. So they're saying non-life-threatening or non-essential surgeries, like if you had a bad knee or something, they're going to start putting those back on the books. I think that they had kind of took those off the books in just out of precaution that there might be a rush on the hospitals, but that seems to be, those restrictions are being lifted. And then it says that on Friday, they are opening up retail curbside pickup only. So it seems like that's going to be a new business model, at least for a little bit. Then the governor comes back and he says, what did he say? He says on the 27th, which is just a few days away, a week or so, that he will be coming out, and on that date, and I suspect based on what the special task force that he created recommends, that they're going to be coming out and they'll be announcing another phase of whatever the reopening is. So very interesting. Times are changing, and then they're changing again. So right here in Texas, and then I see that right on the let's see, what do we got there? Right on the heels of all that, we had our own Montgomery County judge. That would be Judge Mark Keogh, and he came across with some information. This was also on Friday. You've probably heard about it, but I could tell you about it, but it'd probably be just a lot easier to listen to him. So, Mario, do we have that teed up? Can we go to the judge? Let's see what he had to say on Friday, and this will kind of give you the straight shot on what's new in MoCo. Go ahead, Mark.
Good afternoon. I'm Mark Keogh, and I'm your Montgomery County judge. You know, we just heard from Governor Greg Abbott explaining his plan to safely reopen the Texas economy and allow Texans to return to some measure of normalcy as the coronavirus pandemic dies down. He announced a number of executive orders that would do the following. 1, create a special strike force designed to create a plan for the people of Texas to return to normal. 2, allow doctors, nurses, medical facilities currently closed due to his executive orders to begin the process of returning to work starting this next Monday. 3, state parks will be open this Monday as long as face masks are worn and in groups no larger than 5 individuals. 4, all schools, both public and private, will be closed for the 2019-2020 school year, including colleges and universities. And 5, on April 27th, he will deliver additional ways to open Texas-based opportunities, revised plans for containing the virus. Based upon today's announcement from the governor, I am doing the following. In order to facilitate our business's capabilities to safely return to normal, I have terminated my stay-at-home, stop the spread order effective immediately, including the 11:59 p.m. to 6 o'clock a.m. curfew. This will ensure that no local orders stand in the way of reopening the economy as we await the governor's further instructions. This will also give our local businesses time to prepare for reopening that will soon be announced by the governor. Now, what does all this mean? Here it is. Governor Abbott's executive order GA-14 remains in effect throughout all of Texas, including Montgomery County, until April 30th. Now, some of you are wondering, what is GA-14 and where is it at? Here it is. You can go right now to mctx.org. Jump on mctx.org, go to the orders and scroll down, and you will see GA-14. You can read it. It's easy to read. It's user-friendly. Montgomery County will continue as directed to enforce all provisions of Executive Order GA-14 and any subsequent orders issued by the governor. All businesses need to continue to follow Executive Order GA-14 until it expires on April 30th. Starting April 27th, all retail outlets not currently open may open in a curbside or to-go model. Restrictions on nursing homes and senior facilities remains in effect until further notice. And additionally, in my order today, I lay out specific guidance for individuals and businesses as we prepare to open certain business sectors after the governor's expected announcement on the 27th. Now, I know that we were expecting to hear better news than this today for a lot of us from the governor. However, while we are still monitoring the spread, continuing our current social distancing, and in our essential and non-essential activities and businesses, We know that by April 27th, we will have more details. Sadly, today we announce a seventh death, a woman in her 80s who was a resident in the conservatory at Alden Bridge, and our hearts go out to her and to her family. Now, as you know, Montgomery County has never experienced anything like this before. This is a first for all of us. But we are moving through this, and by God's grace, we're going to continue to move through it. We're going to see this through right to the end. We are going to stay the course, and we are going to finish the race. God bless you. God bless Montgomery County.
All right, that was County Judge MoCo, and you heard his message right there. It is a very interesting time to be alive. I mean, I've never seen anything like this. I don't know historically that anybody walking has, but interesting time. And I'll tell you what, I do not envy in any way all of the folks whose job or duty it is to sets on their shoulders to make these kind of policies, because we as a community, I mean, are basically we're wrestling with some huge questions right now, very, very big questions. You know, and you know, first off is that, you know, we had the stay in or the quarantine or however you want to say, and then so the first question, I think that we have surely already answered that, is if it's warranted to lighten the restrictions, because and so I guess based on the Governor Abbott and then the judge's response, we've answered that question. And it seems like to some degree we are in the process of answering the when part of this deal. You know, we have a little bit of a schedule, and I'm sure that based on you know, new information and data, which is always the gold around here, is that based on that, they're saying that they'll announce more in the future of when future stuff happens. But I think a really big question that I don't hear people actually vocalizing, and I think to have a real honest conversation about it, you at least have to bring it and put it on the table and don't tiptoe around it. And the question is, to what extent? And I would definitely say this, that to what extent, if we are going to have, how would I say this? We have to know I guess we've determined to what extent we are willing to tolerate the economic impact. We said this is the line where we are willing to not to tolerate anymore, and we're going to change to start doing something different. But I wonder, do we know where right now can we say, you know, quantitatively, what are the human loss or the human life impact or the health impact that we are willing to endure on that side to get the economy started? It seems like we have two ditches and we're trying to stay out of each of them. We have economy that we don't want to flatline over here, and a public that we want to stay healthy over here, and somewhere in between here is the right answer. But I think it's a dance of yes or no, to or not to, a when and to what extent. So again, like I said, I don't envy the position that these folks are in who are having to make these big decisions, and I hope to God they are right, because something that we have to deal with, and something that is the reality of our situation now, short of a vaccine or a preventative medicine or some sort of remedy, just like what Europe did, and we are just kind of defaulting into a herd immunity situation. And what does that mean? It seems like what we are trying to do is try to manage the infection rate against our ability to treat it and keep the population healthy, but on the other side, to manage the business and the economic rate to treat it and keep the business community healthy. And somehow there's going to be we're going to have to find an equilibrium between all this. So I think that is a huge question. So the herd immunity, that's where we're going. And what that really means, guys, is that a lot of people are going to get sick. We're going to try to manage how quickly they get sick and whatever. But that is ultimately, until we find a cure, the reality on the planet is a bunch of people are going to get this stuff. So I don't know. That's something. So what else do we have, man? Let's see. Oh yeah, I'll tell you what. So I'll say this is interesting. As we in Montgomery County have just kind of started to open up, it seems like there's some really ticked off people around the country. And I was just kind of thumbing through, doing a little research for the podcast, and I was saying that. So like in North Carolina, we got people shouting to reopen, and go ahead, Mario. Let's keep clicking. World through. What else we got? We got angry people. I don't know. This lady's like, she's comparing somebody. Where's that lady at? Oh, she's in Lansing, Michigan. That's where she is, and she's comparing making you stay in and not get the disease. I would suspect that the backwards swastika is some kind of reference to Democratic Socialism. I don't know. You know what? I don't really understand that lady, but I would like to have her on the show sometime. So if she could find me, hey, give me a call. Might give you a little call or something. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, here's somebody in Richmond, Virginia. They're saying, stop the madness. It's just a cold virus in the shutdown for the good of us all. Okay, Richmond, Virginia. What else we got? Okay, now here's an interesting one. Now, Cali's always a fun place for me. I always enjoy the creativity of the folks out there. I have a special place in my heart for California. It's the people that are kind of troubling, but no, I'm just joking. Okay, so, but here's the thing that is kind of funny. I thought that they were just kind of making a big deal out of this, but I was reading some news and I was seeing where California is encouraging people to call the cops on their neighbors if they're outside on their own property without a mask on. But that's not enough that you're going to call the cops on your neighbors. They're willing to give you money to do it. Dude, I don't want to call names, but God, I'm not going to do it. See, I'm going to rise above it. All right, I'm not going to name call. It's just low. All right, man. So good on California. I see that happening. And then we have Orlando, Florida. Look at that, man. They're calling it practice media distancing. Maybe less media is the ticket. I don't know. So I don't know if this show really meets the bar of media, so I'm going to feel like that's not really aimed at me. So anyway, and then pandemic. But we got the folks in Orlando kind of ticked off. And then we got any more? Who else we got? Any other ones, Mario? Oh, there they are. Some angry men. Look at that. Okay, so where are they from? Let's see. Wait, where are they? Steps of... Oh, these are some more people. These are the Michiganders against excessive quarantine. That's some more people in Lansing. So Lansing seems like a hopping place, but kind of see they are well armed, practicing their Second Amendment while wanting to get out of the house or something. So anyway, so there we got that. So yeah, man, that's kind of interesting. So speaking of well armed and angry people, as promised and like I said, backed by popular demand, we have our own homegrown favorite, Mr. Motivation himself. The man who needs no introduction. If you've seen any of our recent podcasts, you know exactly what's coming at you. So, hey, man, let it flow, Mario. Let's see what we do.
Well, it isn't Joey Bag of Donuts and Fantasy Football Fred. You seem to have eaten your way through another apocalypse. How about that? Sitting there watching reruns of the Springer Show. I don't know. Fantasizing about donut shops and golf courses opening up again. Well, you got your wish. And hey, I get it. You know, on a somber note, not everybody could be Navy SEALs. I got it. I understand that. But for those of us who are, it's hammer swings, baby. Come on. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There you go. That's it. Until next apocalypse. I'm signing off.
It's hammer swings, baby. Ooh, I get a kick out of that. All right. Back on planet Earth. What do we... Oh, dude. Here's the deal. I was checking out this. Man, what a difference a week makes. It seems like stuff, if I would have said this last week, so this is actually, I'll give you a little insight, a little off script here, Mario, bear with me, right? Okay, so last week I was wanting to do a show. I was reading ahead and I was thinking, man, China seems incredibly culpable. And I was, yeah, there we go. And I thought I was going to do this, but I was thinking, man, and I talked to some folks and I said, this sounds like tinfoil hat stuff, but I want to do this show. And by the time the week went by, it wasn't even tinfoil hat stuff anymore. it is common knowledge that China has kind of been exposed in a full-on just screw-up of epic global pandemic proportions. And I mean, none of that's an exaggeration. It seems like I don't know if you can remember back, but a couple of podcasts ago, I was talking about China, and I kept saying, I was talking about figures, and I kept saying, if you believe the numbers, if you believe the numbers, if you believe the numbers. Well, it turns out that the numbers were not to be believed as I was whistling at that dog. So it turns out that it's not just me, and it's not just kind of conspiratorial stuff anymore. And so I'm not going to tell you a big story about this, but I was shocked at some of these headlines. All over the world, whether or not they are right leaning, left leaning, domestic, foreign, European, all over the world, we have, let's see, China's covering up, WHO co-conspirators, Europe is taking a harder look at China's virus suspicions, on and on and on. It says, they're trying to, it says that they are just trying to put a public relations spin on this, and it seems like they were found out, as we've talked about in the last podcast, about the WHO and how they were being used by this. So this is really kind of crazy, but one thing that I will definitely say, it's not the time now. Because right now, right here in Montgomery County, right here in the United States, right here in the state of Texas, is that we have to fight the fires that are right in front of us. We have sick people. We have a disease that's blossoming right in front of us, and we are trying to manage an economy and the health of a nation. But we will do both of those. It will come a point in time when we start talking about this pandemic in a past tense situation. But between now and then, we've got a lot of stuff going, and we're going to go into that in just a minute. However, there will come a point in time when it is the appropriate time, and the appropriate question will become what to do about China. And I think that we, as a global community, are going to look at the world in a pre-COVID, in a post-COVID situation. And I think we're going to reevaluate how we look at our own relationships with what we produce and our relationship with China. It's all going to change. So, I mean, this is huge. So, in any event, man, it sucks to be China. So, hey, man, enough about that. I'm done with China. You want to share the interview we did earlier with Duke? Let's launch that. Hey, check this out. You're going to like this. This is an interview with Duke Coon. Check it out. We are fortunate enough today to have Mayor Pro Tem and Chairman of the Board of Lone Star Health right here in Montgomery County. Duke Coon is actually going to visit with us. He is kind enough, and I'd like to say, Duke, before we even get started, a huge thank you, because he endured a whole bunch of technical faux pas yesterday that he was kind enough to overlook and give us a mulligan on and give us a second shot at it. So, yeah, Duke, hey, man, thanks for joining us today. I sure appreciate it.
Eric, it's good to be with you. You know, when I see you, most of your viewers don't know we grew up together. I'm very proud of that. When I see you, Eric, I think of guys like Steve Romines, Scott Perry, Jalen June, and Eric Stover. Rest in peace. So it's good to be here with you. We've got some good information that we'd certainly like to give you today. And your viewers related to COVID-19. So
sure, Duke. What I was hoping is if you could kind of, I'm not sure exactly where we are. I don't know if you have the numbers, but maybe we could start by talking about where are we right now as of what is today? Today is the 19th. I think yesterday we have numbers for the 18th. Is that right?
We do, Eric. We didn't have any numbers come out today. It is Sunday, April 19th. As of Saturday, April 18th, yesterday about 3 o'clock, we had 377 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Montgomery County.
So that is, if I can see, that is, we are slowing. For a minute, we were kind of really taking off, but it seems like it is starting to flatten a bit. Is that also the kind of what you guys, the consensus over there with you guys is?
Well, we hope so, Eric. As you know, I'm with the city of Conroe, but I sit on the Montgomery County Public Health District Board, so I'm the representative for the city of Conroe. It sits on that health board, and we deal with the epidemiology. And so we're starting to see a little slow here. a slowing of the trend. But we're a little we're concerned. Listen, I think if I could kind of walk back in time with you a little bit, what we've all gone through since early March, I think that would be important. In fact, I'm going to take you back to February the 26th, if I can. The city of Conroe at that point, before our first case, our first case was around March 9th or 10th. The city of Conroe, at the direction of Mayor Powell, instituted some plans. One, we put a plan in place to procure PPE for our employees.
When you say PPE, break that down for the layman. What are we saying there?
Yeah, it's real simple, Eric. Personal protection equipment.
Gotcha.
That's going to protect you from COVID. So back on the 26th of February, we started really taking a serious look at this. We were one of the first municipalities in the state of Texas, at the direction of Mayor Powell, to jump out and really get an action plan in place for our city. We had our IT department start to investigate ways to be sure we had personnel that could work from home, get those folks ready for that. So we really got ahead of the curve. We asked finance to start looking at areas where we could find extra emergency funds that were not budgeted to spend on this event. So the city of Conroe early on was really taking a look at this COVID outbreak. And then, as you know, March 9th or 10th, we had our first case finally drop.
Right on, Duke. Real quick, is this an initiative that you guys took on your own to just get started a bit earlier? How'd that work?
We did, Eric. We were watching things that were happening globally. There were some cases out in Washington State that you can probably remember hearing about. And so we decided to take the initiative. The county was right with us when we started that. And I've got to tell you, there's been such great cooperation with County Judge Mark Keogh, the city of Conroe, other municipalities and townships in Montgomery County. Tremendous cooperation. I think that's been part of the key to our success of flattening this curve.
So, and you had just mentioned on something that I wanted to touch on. I am probably the least familiar guy in the world with all the inner workings of how the pieces and parts of the different organizations of local government kind of fit together and operate together. But I'm understanding that you're saying that there's the health district and then there's Lone Star in the city. How do they kind of all interact in for layman's terms?
No, that's a good question, Eric. First, all direct orders, emergency orders, come from the county judge, Mark Keogh. But let me tell you how the county and the city and the Lone Star Family Health Center, who's testing, really interacts. Right now, we have an emergency number in place. If you are symptomatic, you can call 936-523-5040.
And we'll have that right along the bottom of the screen here. Again, can you say it one more time, Duke?
Great, 936-523-5040. That call is going to go into a hotline center at the Montgomery County Hospital District. They're going to actually screen you on the phone and send you over to the Lone Star Family Health Center for testing, if warranted. Now, keep in mind there are family docs and emergency rooms, 24-hour emergency rooms are doing testing as well. So there are many testing sites within Montgomery County. As of today, I believe we have 23 testing sites in Montgomery County. So back to that cooperation, you call in on the emergency number. If you're symptomatic, you'll be screened, sent over to the Lone Star Family Health Center for testing, and you should have your results in 2 to 4 days.
Incredible. Okay, so I have a question. So you obviously heard on Friday where Governor Abbott spoke, and then shortly thereafter, Judge Keogh kind of spoke more specifically what we here in Montgomery County can expect. And at this point, and I haven't been over there, but it's my understanding that our hospitals are not experiencing the inundation that we're seeing on the news at other places. Are we still in fairly good shape with respect to our resources and hospital beds and things here in the county?
That's a good question, Eric, and it's my understanding we are. And I think a lot of that is coming from the screening that the hospital district is doing in cooperation with the Lone Star Family Health Center. So we've been testing since mid to late March, testing patients, and a lot of this has to do with the proper screening. So I think we're in pretty good shape right now, but I would encourage our citizens to be careful. I know Judge Keogh has lifted some restrictions, but I think it's important, if citizens really want some good information, to be sure they go online and look up that governor's order. I think it's GA 14. We're still under that order. I think Mark Keogh mentioned that the other day. We're gonna loosen up some restrictions, but we're still under the order GA 14, and folks need to be aware of that. We're not out of the woods yet here, Eric.
Right.
We've got a long way to go. So we've got to continue to work together. We've got to continue to be smart. I'm so proud of Montgomery County and the interaction between the townships and the municipalities and the cities. It's just been a great collaboration between these elected officials in Montgomery County. And I want to say something else real quick, Eric.
Sure.
It goes unsaid a lot of times. I've got to say how proud I am of our local representatives, Will Metcalf, our state senator, Brandon Creighton. They've been completely accessible to myself, Mayor Powell. We were short on tests over at the Lone Star Family Health Center. They're working around the clock to get us FDA-approved testing materials so we can test. I was on a call the other day, a video call with Congressman Kevin Brady. He is doing all he can to procure these tests, these FDA-approved tests that we need at the Lone Star Family Health Center to test. And Eric, testing is the key here. The more we test, the more we understand about this virus.
Absolutely.
And the more we understand about those who have it, those who've been exposed and recovered. All these things will help us get this economy back open again. I know the governor's going to have an announcement the 27th.
Right.
I'm anxious to hear what that's going to be. We've got to get our economy going again, but we've got to be safe how we proceed forward.
Yeah, because it seems to me, Duke, and let's just be honest, I'm not a doctor in anything. I just kind of read a lot of news. But here's the thing. It seems like we're on a really serious balancing act between letting an economy not stifle and come back, but watching the rise in the cases. And by doing baby steps, is it your understanding that if we see a spike, then we'll adjust that, but if we see it flatten, then we'll continue to adjust towards the economy? Is that kind of the understanding?
Well, that is my understanding, but I think we'll know so much more when the governor speaks again. He's put together a strike force to open this economy back up. I want to say it's Mattress Mac, Tillman Fertitta, and some other big players who understand business. But Eric, first and foremost, it's safety and security. Your mother is in the medical field. My mother was a nurse. My stepdad was a neurologist, and so we understand this. And it's first about safety and security. Everything else comes second after that.
I want to say this. Hey, a couple things. I really appreciate you and what you're doing, and I also appreciate you spreading that around. You could have just said, hey, thanks, and we're doing a great job, and isn't it great? But you took a minute, and I think it's important that you spoke about the people who are responsible, and it's teamwork, because that's what it seems like to me, is you guys were out there in front working together. And because of that, we are setting in a better spot than statistically somebody thought we would have, just based on national averages. So a big thanks to you and all the people that were able to work together in unison without, needing to be the face or take the credit. But at the end of the day, it's you guys, along with the medical workers, that are creating the safety that the rest of us are living in and enjoying the security of. So big thanks, man. I really genuinely do. And secondly, man, thanks for doing the show. I really appreciate it. This is stepping out for us into the big league, and thanks for coming on. Big thanks.
Well, Eric, anything I can do to help you, I appreciate you getting the word out. Can I leave you with a few numbers and websites for folks to go to if they've got any issues?
100%. Lay them out nice and slow, and there'll be a graph zooming underneath you.
Thank you, Eric. Mm-hmm. I think one of the first numbers that we mentioned earlier, I need to repeat this number again.
Please.
It's the number, if you are symptomatic, it's the Montgomery County Hospital District screening line for COVID-19. It's 936-523-5040. I also want to give you some websites to go to that I think are very important. You can find information at www.mchd-tx.org, and you can also go to lonestarfamily.org if you have any questions. And always we have everything posted at the City of Conroe, and that is cityofconroe.org. Eric, it's been a pleasure to speak with you. If there's anything I can do for you, you've got my cell number. I'll give my cell number out. You give your cell number out to the folks that watch your show if you'd like to. It's fine with me. We're all in this together, brother.
Hey, Duke, again, I really genuinely appreciate it. And on a personal note, dude, you're making it look cool. Hey, I'm going to ask you back maybe in another time when we've got another update. I hope you'll take me up on it. And again, thanks for doing the show, dude.
Thanks a lot, Eric. Hey, be safe out there.
Will do. Wash your hands. Take care.
Take care. All right, Eric.
What a fun interview. I genuinely enjoyed that. It was nice. I hope he'll come back and join us another time. All right. Duke Coon. Thanks again, brother. Okay, so kind of along with the conversation that I was able to have with Duke is we have been on this podcast. Mario and I have been tracking kind of the different numbers that are going along with our county. So we have some of those now, do we? Yeah. Okay, here they are. Thanks, Mario. I appreciate the graphic, man. It makes me look good. Okay, so right now, Duke had brought up that we have 377 cases. Says, sadly, we have 7 deaths. But on the upshot is we've got 100 people that have now reported to have recovered, and we've got like 220 in self-isolation. So 50 in the hospital. I guess that kind of rounds out our total. So there is the good, the bad, and the ugly right there. Those are the numbers for Montgomery County. It's kind of encouraging. So I like graphs. They help me out. Thanks, Mark. God, I didn't even have to ask, dude. I appreciate that. That's awesome. So here's the thing. This is a graph. This is a super good graph that we get it offline. So whoever actually made it, I want my hats off to you. But this talks about it. You can kind of see the rate of infection there on the graph, and it is still kind of moving at a 45-degree angle. But in the last couple of days, it has flattened a bit. I hope that is the beginning of the results of what we are seeing from the stay-at-home order. I'm hoping that continues to trend flat. That flattening becomes the trend. However, we will see. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, so on for something other than COVID. We've been on COVID for a minute, have we? Yeah, we'll move on. Okay, so here's the thing. I wanted just to bring this up because if we can find silver lining where I feel like we should at least talk about the silver lining where we can find it. And school is out for Montgomery County. That's a big one. I think I heard that somewhere dropped in some of those bombs. But school is officially out, so good on you there. Now, in another little bit of local stuff that kind of troubling, but I thought that we would put it up. I was thumbing through trying to research some local stuff for the for the podcast, and I saw this was in the Montgomery County Police Reporter. They had put this out. There's a gentleman by the name of Scott Engel, and this was in the the April 16th version of the Police Reporter. It seems that we have a local judge who is under a lot of scrutiny. It's kind of I don't know. It's kind of an interesting case. Has kind of a bunch of crazy parts to it, but it seems there was a guy who married a girl. And seems like she was married at the time that she married him. And then somewhere along the way, there was, what do you say instead of me just summarizing? I'll just read. Scott, man, I'll give you full props here, man. I appreciate you. The headline is this. I'm just going to read it to you real quick, so maybe this will make some sense of it. It says that a Conroe judge's change of heart isn't enough. New developments in the Conroe bigamy case making headlines around the country. Around the country? Wow. Montgomery County making headlines around the country with a bigamy case. God. All right. Well, anyway, it says just days after getting slapped by the Texas Court of Appeals, State District Judge Patrice McDonald vacated her own court order that had forced a Willis man to pay tens of thousands of dollars to a woman who lied to him. Yep, that's right. It says last week that the Ninth Court of Appeals in Beaumont issued a order saying that if the Conroe judge did not reverse her decision unfairly condemning Mark Athens, that they would do it for. It seems that the Court of Appeals acted after Judge McDonald placed Athens in contempt and threatened him with jail when he refused to pay $34,000 in support to Charity Lene Parcham. Seems Athens could prove Parcham was a serial bigamist, but the judge refused to consider the evidence. So, it seems a South Dakota court had voided the marriage. Parcham, let's see, so Parcham goes on to plead guilty to being married to more than one person at a time. I think that's illegal. There's a word for that. But it just seems that according to this article anyway, Judge McDonald didn't care. Need a bigger glass. Anyway, it says Judge McDonald didn't care. And it says despite the judge's forced change of heart, Athens, I think this is the guy who got the fine and filed the appeal, has spent tens of thousands of dollars to appeal the court decision. This is more injustice on the poor guy. No, here's Wayne Del Trifino. This is a guy, I think he used to be for a local station where he used to run around and do some investigative reports or something, but seems now he is a president of a Houston-based investigative media firm called Del Trifino Consulting, and his quote is, "It's bad enough his wife lied to him. Judge McDonald should pay for the Athens appeal out of her own pocket." And Del Trifino goes on to say, and I quote, "She has cost him a fortune, and then she should resign." Yikes. So, not sure what comes of all that, but I hope that they get that straightened out. Man, yikes. Let's talk about something a heck of a lot more fun. We're kind of running long on this podcast, so I want to get out of here. But before I get out of here, I cannot mention, I think we talked about it earlier a couple of times, one of the things that makes today's 419 podcast so important is that tomorrow is, yep, you guessed it, 420. That's right. And so it seems that Texas native Willie Nelson is going to be celebrating tomorrow. He is he is celebrating 420. So if you don't already have plans, since you're off anyway, you might consider kicking it with Willie tomorrow. So here's what the deal is. You can join me, and I'll be watching Willie. He says he's going to be on Facebook and a couple other platforms. You can look it up, but it is going to be the name of the event is Come and Toke It, and this is an event where I believe they're trying to make people aware of and get some justice for the people that have been basically marijuana prisoners over the years. So come and toke it. It's for the Last Prisoner Project. This is Willie Nelson. So tomorrow at 4:20 p.m. Central Time, you can join Willie on Facebook. You can search for it, and he's going to have a program that's going to last approximately 4 hours and 20 minutes. So, you know, we always say, puff, puff, pass. So, hey, man, if you don't have something more planned, I recommend joining me, and we'll all be kicking it with Willie. And by the way, before we get out of here, you may not know this, but Willie Nelson turns in just a few days. On April 29th, Willie will be celebrating his 87th birthday. So happy birthday early, Willie. Man, I appreciate what you do, and make sure that you tune in. And on that note, man, how can you leave out on a note any higher than that one? Get it? Any higher than that one? Okay, so all right, so but before we get out of here, hey, here's some real stuff. A couple things I want to say. As always, man, I stand on the shoulders of giants, and some of those shoulders are named Mario. Dude, I appreciate what you do around there. Big deal, man. A lot of the stuff that you're seeing around here has absolutely nothing to do with what I did. So thanks for the people who are actually responsible, namely Mario. Also, dude, Duke, thanks again for doing the show, man. It made it cool. I love it, man. Thanks a lot. I hope you'll come back. And then, as always, my friend who swings the big hammer, dude. What can I really say? I'll just leave it at that. And as always, we appreciate our sponsor, Body Canada. www.bodycanada.com, a great spot for to get your CBD, best CBD in the world. www.bodycanada.com. Use your QR code now, and that way you can order some CBD. Next day delivery, secure order online, all that good stuff. And what else? Oh, this is where I'm supposed to tell me. Mario says that I need to start getting people to check out my Instagram page. So here it is, Instagram. Here I am, at Eric Thompson 1969. So if you want to check me out on Instagram, sometimes we talk about what's happening. I'll give a little preview, a little update of what's happening. So, dude, until next time, man, I think we've closed out this bit of business. Hey, I appreciate you. Please like and subscribe. It makes a big deal to me. Just take a second. If you like what I'm doing, man, encourage me. Just like, just subscribe. I'll really appreciate it. And on that, I'm saying, we got another one in the books, baby. Call it quits. I'll thank you for very much. Wash your hands, people. We're out.